good afternoon, everyone. And for those who are watching us from different time zones, good morning or good evening. My name is Marilyn. For those who are new in this platform and in this show, I'm the founder and CEO of Customized Training Solutions Private Limited, or CTS. And as Asia's most trusted training and business solutions partner, we create similar programs as this that hopefully adds value and impact for leaders to stay relevant, adapt to the next normal, and ensure performance of a hybrid team. And today, it's my great pleasure to not only introduce the leader for today, but also today we'll be talking about a lot on customer service, which is I'm very passionate about and experience as well. So today we have Faran Niaz from Pakistan. He's the CEO and founder of CX Future, where it's all about customer experience. His passion in working with organizations to help develop a culture that ensures not just for customers to come back, but customers' retention and create deeply loyal customers. His top 100 global customer experience thought leader and is also co-author of the best-seller book on Amazon Customer Experience 4 or CX4. And he has over 25 years of experience as an accomplished customer experience, customer centricity, employee engagement, and change management expert with some of the top financial institutions in the world, including Citibank, Mashrek, and ADIB. He's also an award winning photographer, and his work exhibited in Italy, Thailand, United Arab Emirates, and Pakistan. So, without so much further ado, I'd like to bring in Faran. Hello. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, by the way.
Hi, Marilyn. Hi, how are you? Thank you very much for the lovely introduction. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to everybody who's listening. And I'm very excited to be part of this interview. I've watched your stuff. I'm honored, proud to be here, and excited to add value whatever I can. Also, I take this opportunity to wish everybody happy Eid because this is a very special day. It's a Eid, so Eid Mubarak to everybody, all the Muslims all around the world, and everyone.
So, are you celebrating that starting
Today,
tonight?
today, it's today. So it started. Today is the Eid. It's like Christmas Day.
Oh wow, thank you so much for taking time to
My,
have this conversation with me, even if it's your like Eid today. So thank you so much for your time in the
it's
first place.
absolutely my
And nice to finally see you and have this conversation with you after several conversations through email, through WhatsApp, and on LinkedIn as well.
It was a
So
pleasure talking to you.
yeah, and so I'm just curious to know. I have introduced you. I hope I gave justice to that. But is there
Perfect.
anything more that you'd like to add in terms of your introduction, your experience around leadership and transformation, or even around customer experience?
So I've been very privileged that I've been part of customer experience world for 25 years. That's a good time period. So I've seen the transition when it used to be called customer service and started calling customer experience, and a lot of things started coming in, and how organizations put customer experience at the forefront now. Um, I'm also very proud of one achievement, which, if I may add, when I joined Abu Dhabi Islamic Bank, it was rated as ranked as number 23rd out of 27 banks in UAE, and I was privileged to take it to number one bank in UAE, United Arab Emirates, and we stayed there for 7 consecutive years. So that was, pinnacle of my career, and so much I learned as a leader as well, and so much I achieved through that. It was always a pleasure to lead amazing people and amazing teams. So I learned as a leader as well.
Thank you for sharing that with us. And so, getting started with, you've mentioned your experience and how, again, customer service or customer experience has evolved in the last 25 years you've been in there. And helping a bank from being on the 23rd to 27 to the first in the list when it comes to customer experience. So definitely we'll be learning a lot from you. And so I would like to ask from you, do you have, or who are your influencers actually? What's your favorite leadership styles that leads to how you define what leadership is for? And today, again, we will be talking about what's the role of leadership in customer experience as well, right?
Well, there are a lot of definitions that hang around that define a leader. And I'll keep it very simple. I don't want to define it because there are different ways that you can define it. But I feel a true leader has a couple of traits which are very, very important. One, first of all, most important, the passion needs to be there. For whatever you do, you need to have the passion. And that passion, when it's inculcated and it's delivered to the people who work with you and during the team, and it goes as a mutual strategy, it works very well. Real leaders are the ones who create leaders.
Mm-hmm.
So what my aim always was that whatever I knew, I made sure that I transferred it to my people.
Mm-hmm.
I created leaders. You create leaders of the future. You understand and today when I compare and I look at leaders all around the world, the ones that I really like are the ones who are closest to two things. One, you're closest to your employees, and closest means that you know them, really know them, you emotionally know them. There is a very interesting saying by Colin Powell. He said the day people would stop coming to you and discussing their problems, you should feel that you have failed.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they trust you to the extent that they can discuss their problems with you, that's the day you can call yourself a true leader. And the second thing a leader is in customer experience field, for me, it's very, very important, is the one who understands the customer as well.
Mm-hmm.
So there are multiple traits, and we'll talk about different types of leaderships. So to me, a leader in customer experience field is the one who's very close to the people, to the customer, and to the
Mm-hmm.
employees.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Are there like any specific influencers, or perhaps um, from your experience in the 25 years you're working in a bank,
Yeah.
especially in the customer experience, like how that actually has influenced your input in terms of what you just mentioned? And I'm flashing in the summary now that true leaders have to have that passion and has to create more leaders. And in addition to that, you mentioned that a leader understand their customers very well. So what brought you about of reason why you're saying this?
Yeah, I think I have followed a few leaders as well. And when I was growing, you see, I started my career as a call center agent. So for
Mhm.
me, my initial bosses were my role models. And I have had a share of good and bad bosses as well. So there were some who I used to follow. And I say, if I one day become a boss, I want to be like them because I like the way they motivated me. I remember I, mashallah, grew in my career very quickly. And there was a leader in Citibank, and I can share with you.
Mhm.
I was working as a as a call center agent, and
Mhm.
one day the group head of the Citibank in Pakistan came and announced that from tomorrow Faran will run the call center. So I jumped from a call center agent to
Mhm.
direct to a team to a leadership position in the call.
Mhm.
Why? Because they observed that I am a person who's not just doing my job, but I was going above and beyond, and I was doing things that they found that I had those traits. So I like a style where you're working as a leader, but you also identify those people who have certain characteristics that have. That's why in the beginning I said that the true leader is the one who creates leaders. I
Mhm.
like people like Steve Jobs. I followed his Jeff Bezos. I mean, I study a lot about Jeff Bezos. I'm a big fan of the CEO who just expired a few years ago, Tony Heish of Zappos. Those are the people who have created some of the most amazing customer experience organizations in the world. Zappos, Amazon, uh, Apple. those are the kind of names that you talk about Disney's and this. These are because of the leaders, because
Mm-hmm.
of the people who have taken it to that level. Now I'll give you one more example. I remember when I was in the bank in Abu Dhabi Islamic Bank, my CEO one day called me and he said, Farhan, what is customer experience? Because customer experience world was very, very new. And it was coming in the flow. And I said, here is customer experience, NPS, agile, journey mapping. I explained everything. He said, who do you think is the most customer experience, customer centric organization in the world today? So I took a name. I said, I really like Disney. I like Zappos. And look at this leader. He said, Farhan, I want you to pick up 5 people from the organization who you feel are, the capability of running the organization and who are essential for customer experience. Take them to Disney and learn. Now, there is
Thank
a
you.
leader
Mm-hmm.
who cared, who took me, and then next week I was at Disney. Then I took my team to Zappos, and I learned so much from there. When I came back, and he said, so you've learned so much. What do you think we can implement everything? I said, I can implement a lot of things, but one thing I cannot implement. And that is one thing which is the most important one which you're missing. The leader of these organizations are sitting amongst their people. I saw the CEO of Zappos sitting in a corner where all the people were sitting. I said, to meet you, I have to send a mail, I have to write a message, I have to go through your secretary. Come, be, sit inside the people. That will make you a better leader then.
Wow,
So,
I really love what you've shared with us and from your experience, like with other great companies like Zappos, on how they do customer service and how leaders are actually get involved, like what you've mentioned, in their customer centricity, as well as with leading their people and creating more leaders, in that sense, right? So, and also in my introduction, I made mention around, like staying relevant, um, like being able to like address the challenges that the next normal, brings, or brought about to our lives, as well as adapting to it, right?
yeah,
And so I'm just curious to know, I mean, from the experience that you've shared, like one of the challenges as well that you've mentioned is really like getting those leaders involved and within, the organization to really, experience that customer experience.
yeah.
But from the rest of your experience being a corporate leader in the past and now working with corporate leaders, what would you say would be the top three problems they normally face?
Problems. You see, from a customer experience perspective,
Mm-hmm.
there's no such problem that cannot be handled. But there are a couple of things which are very, very important. And today's world is still being discussed. First of all, let's understand what is the role of the leader of a customer experience.
Mm-hmm.
What is the role? Because you'll be very surprised that the customer experience team does not perform multiple tasks themselves. So we are not IT. I'm not the one who's creating stuff. I'm not marketing, so I'm not marketing stuff. I'm not sales. I'm not selling anything. So what is customer experience? Customer experience role is actually the bridge between all these units.
Mm-hmm.
How well you create that bridge and how beautifully you bring all the pieces together and bind them, that the vision and mission that you have created as a leader is transferred across every individual in the organization. The day every person in the organization understand what is the vision of the organization as a customer experience is, and they know their role, that's the day a leader of a customer experience can say, I've done it. So this is the biggest challenge,
Mm-hmm.
how to create that strategy and make sure that not only the strategy is there, but it's also understood and everybody knows their role in it. Do you know that some of the organizations, for example, I'll give you an example of Coca-Cola. What the CEO, the head of those leaders of that organization does, they would randomly go to any person in the organization and they would say, could you please tell me what is your role as customer experience? What role do you play? And if the person says, I'm sorry, I'm just packing, I have nothing to do with customer experience. I've never met customers. Or I'm just a delivery guy. I just drive my truck and I take all the bottles to the shops. And that's when they feel that they have failed. if they do not understand how important packing is. So the answer that this person needs to give, I am a key player in customer experience because I ensure that my packaging is so correctly done that the product reaches the customer in the right form, as the customer expected and as the organization has promised. They play a very, so everybody plays in. So this is one very important, because you're talking about entire organization, you're talking about a role where you have to. Then second, as I said, bringing all units together is not an easy job.
Mhm.
How was I doing it? Every month I used to run a service quality council meeting, which was chaired by me as the head of customer experience, director of customer experience, and across the table would sit the CEO and all the group heads, every single group head, and representation from all the units. So I'll get people from call center, I'll get people uh, from branches, get people from every unit. So everyone is represented. We start the meeting by top five complaints and discussing them. And on the spot, we would take decisions. So now where does my role come in? I would take a note of all those decisions done, because nothing is resolved then and there. So I will put the names of who's responsible, what are the timelines, and during this month, from one meeting to another, I would go to everybody and say, where are you on your task?
Mhm.
What are you doing? Have you completed your task or not? So making sure that I used to have a relationship with everyone, very important. And it was known that when Faran writes a message and says this needs to be done, it was done because they knew that it directly impacts the customer.
Mhm.
So we used to take decisions. Not only this, very important, and third important thing is, today unfortunately leaders are collecting data. Data is very important. So you would hear this, oh, I do NPS, I do surveys, I do a lot of stuff. So we are more focused on collecting data, but very few leaders actually analyze and action it. Data itself is just numbers. But unless and until you can convert into actionable items and make sure that all your decisions are based on the feedback of the customer. So, a true customer centric organization is the one who analyzes customer feedback and then take the actions according to it and for the betterment and improves it. So, this used to be a challenge as well. And a third challenge, which always is talked about, and Marilyn, it's been still discussed, is
Mhm.
how to prove the ROI of CX, return
Mhm.
of investment on customer experience, because nobody wants to invest in customer experience. You know why?
Why?
Because because when you go to finance department and sales says, please give me budget, I will improve sales and I'll bring more customers. Very easy for finance department, because new customer bringing new money, finance people can count it, the money comes into the account. But when customer experience people go and say, oh, give me, I will improve the process, I will improve your NPS, but that's not green dollars, those are blue dollars, because I'm saying over a period of time, I've improved your satisfaction, and because of the satisfaction improvement, customers will be happy and more customers will come in. So the result is not immediate, but it shows over a period
Mhm.
of time. So today, some struggle goes on around explaining the ROI of customer experience, which is a very debate. It's a separate debate, but it's a very interesting debate.
Yes, thank you so much for summarizing the top three problems that you believe that leaders do face. And again, as I am flashing it just now, it's really so much around creating strategy, and that's
Yeah,
what I've also learned from my trip on in Thailand, where the company that I visited, they also learned from Zappos in terms of how can they actually transfer the vision mission in their with every person or to every person in everything that they do, right? That's actually, I think, one of the challenge for most
challenges.
companies, right?
Yeah.
Building that culture of really embodying and living the vision and mission of the company, as well as, again, like with.
I would like to add here a small issue that I feel now. And over a period of time,
Mhm.
I realized that the more we start talking about customer experience now,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, you would be very surprised what I'm going to say. The level
Mm-hmm.
of experience has declined over a period of time instead of improving.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
It has. I mean, even the studies have proven that. You know why? What I feel is the thing. The problem is that we are now more framework driven. We are driven by technology. We don't understand that technology is an enabler. Technology is not customer experience. It's not a replacement. So there is a race of getting into a transformation without understanding that the customer really understands it or needs it or not. So technology should only come in where it is an enabler,
Mm-hmm.
along with a human. So I always say this word, which is called phygital, that the good organizations are the ones where they find the right balance between physical and digital
Mm-hmm.
transformation. So you have to have this physical. So today I feel one of the biggest problems is that we are very framework driven. So with due respect to many customer experience leaders, and I've seen it myself, a lot of organizations call me to look at their customer experience, and I realize that they have amazing strategies. But do you know that that strategy is amazing to look for the CEO because the presentations are amazing, but the people who are delivering it, which is the front end, they don't understand it, and it's not delivered to the people who actually deliver experience. So if you go to the CEO and say, "Do you have a strategy?" He would say, "Yes, I have an amazing strategy, and here is the strategy and beautiful frameworks." But when you go to the front end and say, "What is your vision and mission? What's your strategy? What is your role?" They don't understand it. So this disconnect between the leader and the deliverer, the people who deliver experience, is
Mm-hmm.
humongous. It was not there before, and yeah, I can talk about it.
Thank you for sharing that with us. And then again, like, we've been seeing a lot on this, like, digital transformation and all those stuff. And again, you're right about it. I mean, thank you for highlighting that, technology and all those systems frameworks are actually there supposedly to really help us systematize things and make the experience better for our customers. And yet, like, one of the problems nowadays is really like, instead of improving, it's declining. It's mainly because of, I would say, communications, right?
Absolutely.
The failure to communicate, I would say, on, like, what's the purpose of this and how can we integrate that in our current vision and mission. So thank you so much for reminding us. And at the end of the day, I mean, having customer as well as employee experience better will always have a return of investment, as you've mentioned, which is the challenge for most leaders, unless they see or you're able to communicate what's in it for them, or what's the analogy, or what's the connection when it comes to the return of investment. Because obviously,
Absolutely.
like, when we talk about people, even training and experience, it takes time, right?
Yes.
To see the result. But I mean, there's a lot of studies out there that has been, proving how this training, customer experience, and all this can actually be aligned with the vision mission, as well as the regular, or the regular things that we do, right, in the operations, will definitely have a return of investment once implemented correctly, right? So, but obviously, we will not leave them with all these problems, despite that, you've already shared some of the solutions, or like, tips for them to address all the problems that you've shared. And before I actually ask my next question,
Yeah.
I would like to invite as well our audience, whether you're watching, especially those who are watching live today, to share with us any takeaways, or say hi to us, or even like ask questions. I'm sure Faran will be glad to answer any of your
Absolutely.
additional questions on top of what I asked him, right? So join us in this conversation, by the way. So, and then that leads me to my next question, because again, we don't want to leave them with all these problems. What do you believe are the important leadership capabilities or skills that you must have in the next normal in order to continue to lead more effectively?
Um, this is a very interesting question. Some of the things I already talked about, but I think the most important first thing that I would start with is the passion.
Mm-hmm.
It A lot of organization today, Marilyn, unfortunately, talk about customer centricity, but they don't
Mhm.
understand customer centricity. What is customer centricity? Customer centricity means that you put customer at the center of everything that you design, that you define
Exactly.
everything. Today,
Mhm.
unfortunately, organization think about, oh, what are my resources? What is my technology capability? What are my people capable of? And then let's prepare something. Or
Mhm.
you sit in isolation and you say, let's create a product, and then you go to the customer and say, here, I have an amazing product. And the customer then says,
Mhm.
thank you, I don't need it, because you've not talked to the customer. So as a leader, for me, it's very important to understand the customer. And the most important thing, I don't know if you can feel it in my voice, the passion that I have for this,
Definitely.
very, very important. So for passion, for me, you need to be hands on. If you're a person who's sitting in your office reading mails with your tie on, you are not a customer experience leader. I had 120 branches. I knew every branch manager by name. Everyone knew me. I had 1,500 front end people. I used to regularly meet them. I was not worried about meeting my seniors. I was reporting directly to the CEO. But I was not worried about. But I was worried about them. I was amongst them. I used to sit in the call center and listen to the calls regularly. I used to go and sit in the branches, act as a mystery shopper myself, sit there and observe what's going on. On and
Mhm.
off, I used to go and talk to the customer. That was my connection. Today, leaders are not doing that. They're not on the floor. Third thing we talked about, that your strategy needs to be delivered to the front end. So you need to be kind of a leader who needs to be, create the strategy, and also, well, and also a very important thing, and we have forgotten about this. Customer experience is something which is inbuilt.
Mhm.
It's not something that anybody can do. You have to
Mhm.
have the right people for the right job.
Mhm.
You need to hire the correct people who are designed for this. And I
Mhm.
always give this example that a lot of somebody asked the CEO of Starbucks, why, whichever Starbucks we go, hundreds of the branches, they're so good. They're always smiling. They're always welcoming. How do
Mhm.
you teach all these people to smile? And he said, I don't teach them to smile. I make sure that I hire a person who loves to smile. That's a very key. It's a very serious note, because today, unfortunately, the people who are in the front end, I meet so many people when I go there, and you look at their faces and you say, and this person is saying, why am I here? What am I doing? I'm tired of, taking 100 calls in the call center. I'm tired of angry customers coming to me and complaining. But a real passionate person will actually go and resolve and meet a customer and resolve the issues. I have so many examples where I meet on daily basis in restaurants and hotels and everywhere with staff members front end who are just serving us. They go beyond their duty to make sure that I'm happy. That's the passion that you need to bring in. A couple of other things, if I may add, you're
Mhm.
choosing the right people. A leader of today of customer experience need to know what your current maturity of the CX in the organization is. Unless and until you understand what your current state of customer experience is, you would not be able to find the differentials. You would not be able to know what the benchmark. So you need to create those benchmarks. You need to have your correct measures, and you need to then analyze yourself according to those measures. I never thought of myself as a bank. I used to benchmark self against Amazon. I used to benchmark self against uh, Zappos. I used to benchmark myself against Apple. Why not? Why should I go industry wise? So you raise your bar. If a regular call center would say 80-20, 80% of the call should be picked up within 20 seconds, that's the standard global, I would say, no, I need to pick up 90% of my calls in 20 seconds. So you push yourself, and you try to be better than. So this is where few more things that today's apart from the other things, you have to be a good analytic person. You need to
Mhm.
really analyze yourself. Strategic thinking. You need to be data driven. Very important that you have to be data driven. And obviously there is continuous learning. And one more thing that is being added today is the emotional side of it. As a leader, you should know how your people are thinking, how the customer thinks. It's not about numbers only. It's about how customer. This is why sentiment analysis. is very important.
Mhm.
Listen to the sentiments of the people. And that's a true leader of customer experience need to know how to analyze the sentiments.
Thank you for summarizing that for us. You did not gave us just three, but actually added some additional inputs on what are the other capabilities and skills of leaders that they must have in order to continue to thrive. And it's interesting when you've mentioned about like how you can actually create strategy from hiring the right people, right?
Yes.
And I think some fail. It's actually like a challenge, I would say, still
Yes.
for most people to hire the right ones, right? And again, it goes back to like what how do they describe and how do they look for the right people to sit in the right place at the right time, right? So because it's
I can
really
very honestly ask,
Mhm.
and this is a question I can ask everybody who's watching as well. How many of you actually interview each person who's going to sit at the front end and face the customers as a customer experience leader? I
Mhm.
used to do that for every person who was hired in the organization. For 2 minutes, I would meet them. I would not care about their CV. I'm not going to look at their education. I'm not going to look at their experience. I would have a conversation with them. And
Mhm.
I'm a good judge of talking to somebody in just with my experience, few minutes, just to know that they have the passion for experience or not. So if you really want people to be, make sure you want to hire the right people.
Mhm.
You don't let HR just do this. HR would find them for you, but you make sure that you go through them yourself as well.
Yes, and that's the importance of having that conversation or that experience yourself, right, with the people that you actually hire, not just because of the CV or like the awards and or whatnot, which are written in the CV, but really the experience on how that person interacts with you, right? And what's another interesting thing that I'd like to find out from you? You've mentioned about the need to know the maturity of the level of customer experience that you have in your organization, and obviously similar to training or like behavioral aspects of customer service is one of the things that is not easy to measure. And so if you can share with us like more things about like how do you know like what's the maturity levels, or if you can give us like some examples of like how do you actually set these metrics, or how do you even like you've mentioned about benchmarking with
Yeah.
very good companies when it comes to customer service like Zappos, Apple, Disney, and all. So like if you were to give us like a few things that we need to look for in order for us to see like not only the maturity level of the customer experience, but also like what do we need to see, right, when it comes to customer experience.
Sure. I think the most important thing is I would go because a lot of organizations call me for maturity assessment.
Mm-hmm.
You need to do it in different levels. First of all, you need to look at the strategy and
Mm-hmm.
you need to see does the basics exist there or not. So first of all, I would say, do you have a vision and a mission of customer experience? You would be surprised that the vision and mission of the organization exists, but the vision and mission of customer experience does not exist. So if you
Mm-hmm.
do not have a vision of, I'm 100% sure the people who are listening and people who would listen to, they can ask themselves and go back and in their organization say, do I have a vision for customer experience? Separate, not the organization vision, which needs to be in aligned with the vision of the. So that's where it starts from. It needs to be clearly defined. Your path needs to be clearly defined.
Mm-hmm.
What am I looking for? What am I achieving? What is my target? Do I want to be like, for example, what does Amazon says? Amazon has a simple vision to be the most customer centric organization in the world, and that's it. This is there. Zappos says to be the most customers happiest, creating happiest customers in the world. Uh, the North Star of the CX world, Ritz
Mm-hmm.
Carlton. We are gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, helping ladies and gentlemen. Very simple
Mm-hmm.
vision. It's very simple design. So you need to create a vision and then make sure that your people are empowered. Now, how you do you assess the maturity? First of all, as you said, that the assessment is difficult. I think it's very easy. Customer is talking to you through different channels. Make sure that you have given them the voice to talk to them in different channels.
Mm-hmm.
Online, digital, phone banking, mobile banking, wherever the customer says, and social media.
Mm-hmm.
Customer is saying things. So you make sure that you listen to them. Go to them. I mean, every time you stay in a hotel, you immediately get a survey. So survey is a great way of getting to know what the customer is talking to you about. You have created certain benchmarks. So you have, what is a benchmark? A benchmark is a target. For example, I want to serve my customer in the front end. Let's say if a customer takes a token, the customer should be served in 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say on a branch. Or if a call comes in, it should be handled within, let's say, 2.5 minutes. So those are you create multiple KPIs and then you assess where are you delivering. You would know either you meeting your KPIs or not, and then you assess and find out where the gaps are, and then you create strategies according to that. One very important thing, Meryl, unfortunately, everybody started running after NPS. NPS is a great survey and great metric, but it's not the only metric. NPS was created to assess the loyalty of a customer, not satisfaction. So you need to know where satisfaction is being done. So CSAT is to be done for satisfaction. Do you know what is my favorite metric?
What
CES,
is it?
customer effort score. That's where when somebody connects with you and takes something from you or does something you go back to them and say, how easy or difficult was it to do business with me?
Mm-hmm.
If you have opened an account, how easy was it to open it? So you're not going to go back and ask NPS because NPS is loyalty. What loyalty somebody has who has just joined your organization 3 days ago? You need to ask about the effort that they make. So this is where you analyze all these things and you assess them according to the benchmark. And there are global benchmarks available for every industry. Those reports are available. If somebody is interested, I can share those benchmarks and you can benchmark yourself according to the industry standards.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And I just want to say hi to Dr. Constance Leyland. Hi, CJ. Hi, sis. And I'm glad you are here as much as you are glad that you are here. Thank you for staying up late. She's watching all the
Oh,
way from US. so thank
hello
you so
from
much
Dubai.
for joining us. Yeah, leveling up here. Thank you for joining us today. And again, I really appreciate you sharing with us some of the ways to measure the maturity level of customer experience. And it takes an expert. And sorry to say this, but sometimes it's really painful to be waiting in the line in banks and all those
Yes.
stuff, right? Like, I mean, I'd rather do things online because it's faster, more efficient. And it's kind of painful to wait for hours to be served in banks or even sometimes when you check in hotels, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of the retailers, a lot of the restaurants, hotels, and banks has to really learn so much on improving the processes as well as the customer experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, oh, it's almost 1 a.m. for CJ. Thank you for joining us despite it's already 1
Wow.
a.m. And this has been a great convo and interview on using the proper tools. Definitely. I mean, we have the expert here when it comes to customer service, customer experience. So, yeah. And so, thank you for joining us today, CJ, again. And for those who are watching us live or even on a replay, I will be tagging Faran here in this interview. So, if you have any additional question, please feel free to raise those questions or any inputs that you'd like to add on what actually you've been learning from this conversation. And so that leads me to my last question. As much as I wanted to continue on customer experience and customer centricity is always my passion as well.
Excellent.
being a hotelier by profession and training, and our company has been always known for the customer centricity and the experience that we bring into our customers, the outcomes that we bring into them. So this is really a favorite topic of mine. So but we have to go, and the last question I have for you is, if you have a magic wand and can use it, what will you do with it? This is a very open question.
Very interesting. I mean, I'm a big fan of Harry Potter. Uh, I've been to Harry Potter world all over, so man, I wish I had a magic wand. I think there's a lot of unrest in the world these days. There's a
Mhm,
lot of anxiety. I mean, COVID also taught us a lot of things, and
mhm,
it taught us how compassionate is the world needs compassion. The world needs passion for human
mhm,
connection and emotions.
mhm,
We are lacking emotions, and people have gone so much fixed into their personal lives, and life has become
mhm,
so fast. If I have a word, I would slow down the lives a little bit and let people interact with each other. When I go I don't know if this is the right answer or not, but I'm just telling you, when I
mhm.
go in different groups, I see people engaged with their technology, with their mobiles, sitting, but they're not interacting.
True.
I want people to interact because I come from a passion. I mean, being a customer experience person, I want people to talk to each other. I want more emotions to be shared. I want people to understand each other, understand their problems, understand their issues, understand and learn from them. That's why some of the best organizations. I remember in one of the I think in Citibank, what we used to do whenever there was a meeting or even we had a formal or informal meeting, there was a basket and everybody had to drop their telephones into mobiles into it, and you sit there without, and then we got to know each other better. And this is what you do with your customers as well. You sit with your customers. If I have magic wand, I would just make sure that there is more compassion within this world, and people are more compassionate to each other.
Wow. Thank you so much for that. And again, that's what customer experience is, right? It's
Yeah.
really elevating and having that passion for human connection, right? And not everyone has it or want it, but it improves lives, it improves experiences, right? So thank you so much for sharing that. And again, even without the magic wand, I would say that that's something that you exude from the work that you do, right? So thank you for doing that. And before we end this conversation, I just want to acknowledge the rest of the people who are joining us live today from LinkedIn. I hope I'll pronounce Kinini Dennis Kiza. Hello, and thank you for wishing us well, and we wish the same for you. Coming from Uganda, wow, thank you. And Augusto Sui, thank you for coming into our show. And he has an important message: humanize the business through humane leadership to deliver exceptional customer experience and beyond. And I guess that's the
Well,
lesson that
this was
we're
very well said. Yeah,
getting.
that's what we're talking about, and very well said. Thank you.
Thank you
You know,
for.
I will leave you with another. I always quote this quotation quote, but it's very
Mhm,
close to my heart. And
mhm.
this is from Steve Jobs, and he said, "Get close to your customer, so close that you tell them what they want before they ask for it."
Mhm.
This is how close we need to be our customers. This is how much we need to understand our customers.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you for leaving us with that final thought and quote from Steve Jobs of getting close with your customers. It's too close or so close that you have to
Understand.
say and address there before they even ask for it, right? Thank you so much, Augustus, for um, joining us today. And with that, thank you for all those who are watching us live on a replay. And thank you so much for spending your Christmas or your Eid with us, Faran.
My pleasure.
So much
What
for
better
your
way to
time.
start it?
And I really appreciate the insights, especially on customer experience, which is, I would say, one of the top things that leaders must have top of mind as well. So thank
Absolutely.
you so much for this very customer centric conversation with you. I really love it. And thank you again for your time. And thank you for those who are watching us live or on a replay. And let's join together to create more opportunities to make this world a better place to live in. And
Absolutely.
remember that even the richest investors in the world would say that investing in yourself is the best investment you can ever make in your life. So, with that, we would
That's
like to leave everyone with this quote that if your actions create a legacy that inspires others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, then you are an excellent leader. Thank you so much for being an excellent leader for us, Faran. And just to announce again, this is my last interview for now. We'll probably be back by after mid of July. And for those who are based in the Philippines and would like to have a conversation with us, I probably have like one or two more slots left um, between July 5 to 7 for meetings within Metro Manila. And the rest has been filled up. And I look forward to those clients and customers that I'll be meeting soon. Next week, that's next week. So that's the reason why we won't be able to have this interviews in the next 2 weeks because of the meetings and projects in the Philippines. And so we look forward to like serving and going back. Let us know how else we can help you, what other topics that you are looking forward to also hear from us. So again, thank you, Faran, and thank you everyone for joining us. And do stay safe and connect with us if there's anything we can help you with on learning, leadership, customer experience, and more to improve your organizational development and results as well. Thank you and have a good day. Bye for now.